So we were left with quite a side tangent at the end of the last game. We were going through a dungeon. Players found a sword called Tear that can open a gate to another dimension, but the Warforged Artificer Crag took Tear, successfully opened a portal right there inside of this little room, and opened a hole that had kind of this like rock beach biome that led to that place that the room had depicted. Crag looks at the rest of the party, steps through. 3 of the 5 remaining players also decide to step through, leaving 2 behind. These 2 were staunchly against going through it and saw it as a complete distraction of being in this dungeon in the first place. They decide to leave the room where the portal is still open. They go down another staircase to go deeper into the dungeon. They scout some things out, then they walk into another room that I had put one of the heavier traps in. One of the players had begun searching around, looking for any traps, failed the DC to find it. Trap triggered. It summoned a demon and set a force cage in the center of the room, trapping the player who was searching in with the demon. The other player is just outside of the room, but can see everything happening. That is where we left game. Luckily, I have talked to both of the players and made sure that they do not feel hopeless about this situation. And I think we're going to have a very interesting and dramatic outcome coming from all of this. Possibilities of what could happen are extremely interesting and something that I've never experienced as a player in my 10 years of playing D&D. This will be really cool. I hope we can pull it off well. The rest of the players who stepped through are on a somewhat familiar plane called Ikoria. Ikoria is a realm split into 5 regions that all have their own unique set of ecosystems. In Ikoria, there are these crystals that seem to grow throughout the realm, different color crystals and different sizes depending on which region you're in. Our players find themselves in the region of Raugrin. They are right on the coastline of the massive inland sea called Atial, and they have basically spent enough time to look around their direct surroundings, see the odd shapes of stone formations, take in the sea breeze, and notice the little crystals. So Raugrin's an interesting place, dominated by vast mountainscapes. There's not a whole lot of plant growth, but it's not barren. There's a lot of rivers and streams. There are some lakes hidden away. There's also quite a few active volcanoes throughout the region. There are lava vents and rivers of lava that kind of continuously go. One thing of note about Ikoria is that it is sparsely populated. There's not much civilization. Ikoria is not my own original idea, but there's also not a whole lot of detail written about it in the original IP, so I am taking creative licenses and going way farther and way deeper into my own interpretations of the groundwork that was laid out. Picture of a Raugrin coast. I put little figures down here and highlighted it to show the players the scale of things and about how big they are in comparison to everything around them. I've got some cool things. So they've got a little bit of exploring to do. We've got their immediate surroundings, so I can describe different things to them, including the crystals, the rock formations, sand, some weird creatures flying around. And I know this is taboo for some DMs, but I have a note in here of whether they go up or down, they're going to run into the next thing, because they need to run into this next waypoint. So I'm putting them, I think I'm going to put them somewhere around here. So here are the 5 regions, right? Raugrin, this place dominated by mountains. A lot not seen past the mountains, and I've got a lot of fun kind of events for them to run into as they traverse through Raugrin. Ikoria is this place dominated by mountains and jungles, so think just the most extreme ecosystems in Thailand and China, where it's just hot, jungly, foresty. There's some more open places with grasslands, but everything's just really extreme in elevations, going up and down. I have this area down here, endless sea of trees. This valley then opens up to this just insane opening of dense trees. I'm saying a lot. I'm very sorry. I saw a really cool photo on a Google image search. I'm going to throw that in. I don't know what it does, but it's going to be part of that. We'll see if they ever get there. Moving north of Ikoria, we have Zagoth, which is just the most lush area you could possibly imagine. It's dense jungle. It's enormous trees you could live inside of as a normal-sized human. You could build a city inside inside of the tree. It's so big. There are fungal forests hidden inside. All kinds of everything is in Zagoth. Think of just like a primordial oasis. Creatures across all of Ikoria are prone to mutations, whether that is a mutation over time, natural selection, or mutations in the moment of it's fighting another creature. And it would be really, really good if it had a horn in a certain area, and a horn will begin to grow in the moment and form right there. So this is a wildly diverse plane dominated by creatures. I do have little brown areas all over, which I'm thinking are going to be settlements or ruins of settlements. Red are the roads connecting them. We have the Bay of Whispers, which I think is going to be a fun kind of place of madness, crazy sea creatures and stuff. Above Zagoth, we have Indatha, which is supposed to be this like place of old ancient swamps and plains and ancient forests. This will have like the most interesting of fungal regions. This place also just has like alien nightmares and like just the weirdest of the weird stuff is in Indatha. This is also the most magical of magical places is in Indatha. There'll be a place called Everdark where there is never light. It is always night, and it is an exceptionally dark night. Moving across from Indatha, it'll become less jungle, swampy, and become more just like open fields of grasslands. And we get to fields and deserts. So we have the shifting sands going all over here. Kind of a natural barrier, extremely dangerous for basically anything that's not a sandworm. We have a Glundo Gorge, which is just this massive crevice in the earth, kind of making a natural barrier between the two regions, along with these scattered mountain ranges. Savai is this place that's just like pinnacle fantasy region where they have like arching, like circular mountains that like some of them touch, some of them don't touch. I'm saying like a lot. I'm very sorry. There's big ravines hidden everywhere. It's basically the African savanna. The largest city is Dranith, this like castle structure built around a mountain-sized singular crystal, which glows and vibrates as creatures approach and serves kind of as like an early warning system. But because of its size, they get like a regional warning system. And there's going to be like some fishing towns down here, a larger town that would kind of trade with them. This is basically like the only real civilizational structure outside of Dranith in Savai. There's nothing in Indatha. There is Orn, but it's not going to be known about by anyone else. Ketria is a bunch of failed places, and then there'll be one kind of like metropolis split over this river that I have a really cool photo for. And then in Raugrin, going down the Jalkortra, I definitely could have made a better name for that. This is like the only real road in Ikoria, and it's the main trading post between the two big sanctuaries of Lavabrink and Dranith. Lavabrink is built into the side of a volcano. They've irrigated the lava to kind of just flow around the city. They also use the lava as heat source, a material source to craft and smith with, and they also have lava mancers that manipulate the lava to help protect the city from beast attacks. And that's really about it. There's going to be like a coastal town just off of there as well, just because it would make sense. There will be another town in this bay just off of Lavabrink as well. I think I'm going to make this a ruined town, and I don't know what to do with this one yet, but we'll get to it when we get to it. Now that you guys have had a bit of the tour, players are going to be right here. They're going to look down either side of the coastline.